director in Inky BDC, Indiana, Kentucky. It's exciting to see all you here. Let's open with a word of prayer first. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this day and for this opportunity to share our stories with each other and to learn and enlighten our movements. May our words come freely, and may our thoughts be acceptable to you. All these things we ask in your Son's blessed name. Amen.
Amen.
So, our topic today is training and team building and team creation. Okay? And this is kind of the nuts and bolts of putting the teams together and how different secretariats do that. We all know that everybody is unique, each secretariat is unique and do things differently. The idea of this group is to take pieces from other secretariats that may work in your movements and try and get additional things that work good for other movements into yours. And then later on this afternoon, Kim, who's sitting on the floor, mine's more about how to do things. Kim's more has a training this afternoon and then one tomorrow. Hers is more why we do things that we do. So our talks kind of piggyback on each other. So if you have an opportunity to go to Kim's, that'd be great. Hopefully hers will segue.
Batman and Robin.
Hopefully hers will segue onto mine. So,
What is yours called?
I think it's training too.
I think they just
Because this was team building.
They're both called team building on the schedule.
They're both called
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
building, but it's a
Look
different.
at the speaker
Okay,
to know.
Yeah.
excellent. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because this one will be done again this afternoon. Hers will be done at the same time this afternoon, and then one on tomorrow. So, okay. So if you show up and you see me, if you show up and you see me, you're probably in wanting to go to hers. You need to figure out where she's at. We'll let you know.
It's actually, hers isn't on there. This afternoon
It's on a different. There's an updated one.
Which is posted to the website.
Okay.
Okay, John. What's your question, John?
No, on the schedule, your team building, she's team training.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. There we go.
I didn't get trained.
I didn't get that number either. So anyways,
That's right.
I want to start with a simple word. And I know that some movements use this and some of them don't. The word is cha, C-H-A. Okay, some movements don't use cha because we've talked to some folks and they go, "What's a cha?"
It's a dance.
So, anyways, a cha, and this is just something we made up. Christ's hands in action. Okay.
We've been using that for 40 years.
Good. I'm glad you are. But anyways, so every member on a team is a cha. No matter what your position is, you are a cha because you are Christ's hands on that particular weekend. Okay? So, I also have talked to quite a few folks, and the definitions of the positions on teams tend to be different. For this exercise, I want to get out all the different position names so that when we're talking, somebody may call a rector something, and they may call a rector rectora. Some of them have lay director as the rector. Okay, so the names that I have up here are the names that Inky uses, and they're not right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just what we use. Okay, so to get started, I want to ask you guys if, and we're going to go kind of down the list, if you use a different name for your rector. The rector is the head position on the team.
The
In
person
charge.
with the bell.
So, does anybody else use anything besides rector or rectora?
We have an assistant rector, rectora as well.
Okay, and that's We'll talk about that in 1 second, okay? That's this, that's that show. So does anybody else use anything else? Okay, the rector, for Inky, is a appointed position that is appointed by our secretariat and our leaders chair. They pick out of the list of people that are eligible to be rector, they will pick a person. And there is a small group, typically of past rectors and some other leadership within our movement, that we look over that. We may know that person better than somebody else, and we're saying, not sure if they're quite ready to be rector or not. And so it's kind of a collaboration to come up with who the rector is. Once we decide who we are going to have to be the rector for that next weekend, we will offer a call to them. And we do not expect an answer at that point in time. We're just offering them that call. And they need to pray about that decision for a while, okay? So once they come back and say, yes, we're going to do that, then we move on. And we give them a list of potential people for the next level within the organization, which are all of our head positions. So our next head position is what we call a head CHA. The head CHA is the schedule keeper on the weekend, the administrative kind of things that go on during team meetings, okay? They get down into the weeds and keep a lot of the other excess stuff away from the rector, because the rector is involved with all the spiritual stuff, dealing with all the other pieces in that. So that head CHA is kind of an administrative person. So does anybody else use anything different? Okay.
Rector's CHA.
Rector's CHA, okay.
And we also have an assistant rector's CHA, if we can get enough staff.
Okay. And this is my assistant, my wife Marcia.
We have just an administrator.
You have an administrator, all right. And one of the things, the reason why I had everybody highlight this is maybe tonight, but definitely tomorrow, we will summarize all this that we're talking about, and we will get it all back out to you. So you can write notes if you want to, but a lot of this we're going to send out tomorrow. So. Okay.
So we don't do a head child, we do an assistant rector or rectora.
Okay.
And we do two, so we do a past, usually our assistant rector is a past to help, and then a new one coming on.
Okay.
So we usually have two assistant, to the rector,
Okay.
instead of being called a head child.
Okay, so, does your assistant typically move into the rector position on the next week? Okay, this will make sure that.
Down in Sunshine North in Florida, we have a head child, but then we also have a backup rectora.
We'll talk about that.
Okay,
That's different.
okay.
Okay.
Well, I think you kind of answered my question.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Big head position too.
Yeah, so another one of our head positions is, all of our weekends are held at church camps. So we do our own cooking, okay, at the camps. So we have a head kitchen CHA that does all the meal planning. I mean, our secretariat has guidelines for our meals, but they do all of the planning for that. They have an assistant kitchen CHA. It's just kind of like in the hierarchy of helping things out. And then we have just regular kitchen CHAs, 5, 6. Depending on the size of the kitchen, may only be 4, but at least 5. So does anybody else have anything for kitchens? Yes.
We just do kitchen rector and assistant rector.
Kitchen rector?
Yeah, we don't use CHA.
That's right. So it's fine.
We do. We use, head cooks and assistant cooks.
Gotcha.
And then we have people, head dining room guy and assistant dining room person, which are head servers.
Okay,
And we call those social chops.
okay. I knew this was gonna happen, I really did, so, but that's good, because when we start talking about building a team, and I'm saying, here's your kitchen child, your head kitchen child, you guys can relate that back to
Well,
what you.
we don't have access to the kitchen itself.
Yeah,
The
wherever you're at,
facility
does your cooking,
does the
Yeah.
cooking, but you gotta deal with the dining room, and that's a lot of work for our social chops.
gotcha, back here,
I was gonna say the same thing, when the camps that we use also are taking over the cooking, so we have dining room.
gotcha, yeah. That, and we do the, these extra chas here, that's a lot of, we have maybe 3 or 4 that will do a lot of the cooking and prep, and then a lot of the rest of them will do table setup, decorations, things like that. But everybody pitches in and does everything else. So yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
We have a kitchen that they do the cooking at our camp.
Okay.
But so we have what we call an assistant head chop. So the head chop is the person in charge of the royal room stuff is in there, and the assistant head chop is everything outside, which we call hospitality.
Gotcha. And we have a different name for the royal room person. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So what head chop under head
What's it called?
Head chop.
Assistant.
Assistant head chop.
Okay.
And if we don't get confused, it will be a miracle. So. Go ahead.
So we have a head kitchen shop.
Yep.
We have the camp cooks for us, and so they take care of the dining area, but they also do skits before we can go in to eat.
Okay.
We do.
Oh, wow.
Your people or the camp people?
We do the skits.
Oh, and we also have 2 people who are called the chapel chas.
Yep, we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that.
So, okay.
So we're
didn't
just,
see that.
we're doing our top positions, we're doing kitchen, just who our cooks and that kind of stuff is right now, okay?
Okay, we are also at a camp and they do all the cooking. We don't have a dining room staff, we don't have, the largest staff we ever have, including everybody, is 21 people.
Okay.
It sounds like you guys, some of you have a lot bigger staff. What we have is called a food cha. And the food cha does what they've been doing here, puts out the snacks and the drinks and does that kind of thing. They also.
Is that in the dining room, or is it in the
Not
royal?
in the dining room, in the royal
Okay,
room.
we'll talk about that in
Okay.
a second. That's,
And they are also responsible for gathering if people have dietary needs or something. And they share that with the kitchen.
okay. We got a lot of things, that's good, because we all need to be together.
This just points out what the actual essentials are.
Huh?
This just points out what the actual essentials are.
That's right.
All the weekends end up working.
And we don't have anything called a head chef.
All right, so, let's go back to our rector, our head shop. Okay, so the head shop now, or the rector is, within the royal room, we have professors, and that's kind of synonymous with royistas. Our professors and royistas give the talks, okay?
Now, we have people who, once they've been seen, but, our social chas who are in the dining room invisible, they'll come in and do royos.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about that when we get to team selection.
Yeah.
That's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
So when we have our tables, usually there are two professors or baristas.
Right.
We call them the, hold on, I just went blank. We have the speaking professor and the silent, not silent, but support professor.
Okay,
And the support professor is gonna speak only as much as the quietest guest or pilgrim.
yeah. So okay. So are all of your speaking professors in the Royal Room?
Yes.
No.
So you have eight tables?
I know they usually go up to 5.
Okay, 4 or 5, okay. You must have full weekends, that's our problem. is
Yeah,
don't
we
have
have full
full
weekends.
weekends. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the number of tables for us is determined by the number of pilgrims.
Correct.
Right, so if we only had, and we've had at times only 4 or 5 pilgrims, we'd only have 4 or 5 tables at the most, or maybe 3. But what happens is then we double up our professors on the tables.
Right.
So that we might even have.
3 or 4
have,
professors on
say,
the
6 people at the table, 3 or 4 of them may be professors.
Exactly, okay.
And Randy,
they
we
have
have
to be
just-
quiet to let the other people get into it, but, it's the number of pilgrims that determine the number of tables.
Right, exactly.
And we have just table leaders and assistant or silent table
Okay,
leaders.
so table leaders, okay, yeah, we've got that.
Yeah, we have table leaders and then we have the baristas.
Yeah.
Okay.
those two.
And the number of table leaders depends on if we have enough weekenders, which, yeah, we don't call them pilgrims.
That's a whole different thing.
It's Minnesota. I
That's
get it.
right.
call them participants, and we used to call them candidates, apparently. before.
Okay, so that's the Royal Room, okay? So now, in the Royal Room, we also have what we call a head Royal Room Cha.
Yep.
Okay, the head Royal Room Cha is the one that reads the Bible verse before the Royista talks. We have a standard Bible verse for each royal that is given. And the head Royal Room Cha will come in, read that, light the candle, and then, no, prayer's done by the Royista. So I'm getting some head shakings in the back.
I was just gonna say, we have a banner that's created by somebody that has the
Verse for each.
the verse for the week, and it's always up in the royal room.
This is different than that.
Yeah, and our head royal person never comes in and reads it, so that's my.
But the Bible verse that they are reading is unique for each royal.
We don't do
That's
that.
done in our chapel.
It's like a theme scripture.
No, it's a, for each talk, yes. So, and you guys may not do that.
We have a theme for each one, and it's gonna be piety, or it's gonna be that, but we don't have a specific
Person that
verse
does.
that is tied to that.
Okay.
Nobody, even the professor isn't reading a
Okay.
verse.
Yes. This starts our Royista up at the beginning of their talk, so that's okay. I mean, that's just the way we do it. That's, like I said, it doesn't mean it's right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just the way Inky does stuff. Yes, sir.
We let our Royistas pick an entrance song and then
Okay, yeah, okay. CJ.
We have an escort call that goes, they put the banner on,
Professor Escort.
and they make sure that the candle is lit and they're talking
Okay. We don't have a candle. We've got another person that does some of that. Yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, sorry. CJ.
We have, our head royal room person, which we call the royal room rector, is the person who hands out all the pens and the papers and the art supplies and the poster board and
Okay.
yada, 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 and, gets the snacks, that's the snack for the royal room.
Okay, that's different. I mean, that's.
Pocket chop.
Sorry.
Food chop.
Yes. She already did. Do you have that question, CJ, or not? Okay, good.
I was gonna say, I have to go back to Professor for a second, because we have what's called a Professor Escort, so that's like the head professor job.
That's,
our
That's what we have,
assistant
that's what we have for assistant royal room, that's what they're, that's
Yeah.
what
We
haven't
they're.
touched on that.
We haven't got there
Okay.
yet, that's what our guy,
Kind of
our
an
person
escort.
does, so you can see we can be talking about exactly the same thing, but using different terminology, okay? So that's why we're going through this, so when we get to building our team and some of our training, we know what we're talking about. Because when I say something, you guys relate back to your own movement, okay?
Yes, yes.
That's,
Vanna here.
that's it.
Vanna has a suggestion. Okay, hit Blanca, see if that one's common too. Blanca chocolate.
What do you want to bet it's not? Okay, Palanca Cha. For Inky, a Palanca Cha is in their own little room.
Uh-huh.
And you never see the Palanca Cha.
We see ours.
So, that's, I know.
They do eat.
The Palanca Cha will accumulate all the Palanca for the weekend. Letters, snacks, gadgets, whatever comes in. And it is their responsibility and job to file all the letters where they're supposed to be. They take care of, after this talk, we want to put out this Palanca. After this talk, we're going to put out this Palanca.
Correct.
But they are not the ones that actually put that out. They are kind of managing all the Palanca. Okay, so we have different people that do that. In the middle back there.
We call that the head chapel child.
Head chapel cha.
That's the chapel child.
The chapel in Western North
That's a
Carolina,
building
the
job.
chapel team, the whole team actually has a dual purpose.
Oh,
They
that makes
help not
sense.
only with all the Polanka,
That makes sense.
and even the royal room, head royal room child handles Polanka too, because when I was head royal, we had our
Okay.
royal room Polanka.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
All right, so put that down.
What?
Head chapel cha.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that is gonna mess some people up.
We have a separate chapel shop.
What's that?
We use mailroom chop.
Mailroom cha.
That's what it is. Everybody now giving the
Okay, hang on a second, guys. We got-
everybody giving the definition of what the chapel chaws do. The chapel is one category that is equal to the royal room, to the kitchen room, the chapel room. We've got a whole group of chapel chaws.
Yes.
I know, because I'm the head chapel chaw this week.
Okay.
My next weekend,
So-
and I have an assistant chapel chaw, and then I have like 4 chapel chaws under me.
Okay.
And they do the Palanca, they do all those
Okay.
things that you're doing.
So,
It's a blending.
it's, yeah.
So when you're not working in the chapel. you're-
So yeah, we'll hit on what our chapel chas do, and it's definitely different than that, that's for sure. So go ahead.
But right up there in Western North Carolina, Vita Cristo, we have a prayer Polanka cha.
And I bet that's what our chapel cha is.
That's a prayer Polanka cha, and they handle all the prayer requests, so that's the prayer room.
Yeah. Well, we'll hit that in just a
We
second.
have a love team.
So, okay, Palanca, anything else? What do you,
We have a whole team called Blanca, which covers a lot of these, and then,
Okay.
yeah,
and then we also, a couple of years ago, we pulled out, now we have a prayer team.
okay,
And then we also have what we call a mentora, and they're in charge of supporting the rector, plus they're in charge of getting the raístas, you know, to the prayer room, and then to the, get their.
okay, we'll put that up here in just a second,
Okay.
okay? So, so that's kind of what Inky calls Palanca, go ahead.
Okay, we have 2 Palanca chas. They are seen, and we hand out Palanca 5 times.
Okay,
After, twice in the royal room, twice on their beds, and when they leave.
okay, all
I
right.
can't imagine Canada now.
So, anyways, okay, so, that's Palanca, that's what we call Palanca, you guys have figured out what Palanca is now. Okay, so let's do table. No, we have not done table cha. Don't get ahead of me. All right, table cha. That is kind of what you guys are all talking about, but it's a little bit different. A table cha is a person that is responsible for that table. They take care of everything for those pilgrims and professors at that table. They take drink orders. They, when we have notes, because during our royals we have note sheets that we pass out. They are responsible for getting those things out. They take the baskets from the Palanca cha that goes out, and they are the ones that will take it out and put it around on the tables. Okay, so that's what during our breaks. A lot of that stuff is,
Yes.
the table chaws are very active during the breaks in between the royals. They are also the ones that bring out the posters for them to draw on and the pens and all that kind of stuff. That's what the table chaws do. Okay? That's what our table chaws do. So again, you guys figure out how, if I say something about table chaw, figure out how that fits into what you guys are talking about. Okay? So, what's with the head shaking no back there?
I think it's different because many of you have camps or other places where you can go, because one of our big groups is a fourth day group, and that's all behind the scenes, putting up the cots, making beds, getting all the grunt work.
And that's a vital role that is done outside of the rector's responsibility, isn't it? Do the rectors call the team people that do that?
The rectors call a rector for fourth day Polanco, which is more of our chapel kitchen.
But I mean, you're talking about a team of people that do things behind the scenes, set the beds up and all that? Does the rector take care of calling all those people, or does your secretary that does that?
We have rectors or rectoras in our fourth kitchen fourth
Okay.
day. So the head rectora just calls the leaders of the group.
Okay, all right.
Just to throw you.
Yeah,
You are, that's okay, that's okay, I can deal with that, I think. So, does anybody else use kind of this table chaw?
Yeah.
Okay, but is that what you call it? Okay, good, I'm glad. That's one.
Next, Herman. Yeah,
Where we
Chapel
at?
chop, but yeah, you gotta move off to.
Where we at?
Probably
Oh,
training.
we're okay. Okay, chapel chops. Chapel chops, okay, our chapel chops. We have a head chapel chaw, and we typically have 2 other assistant chapel chaws because we're running co-ed weekends all the time. And so we have at least 2 of one sex and 1 of the other. So we don't have any issues in our chapel, okay? We've talked about that a lot, and we are trying to protect our movement as best as we can from anything going on, so. And I hope you all are doing the same thing, because it'd be disastrous if we had something accused and it really wasn't there, but we don't have any control of that. So anyways, our head chapel chop. And really the assistant chapel chops pretty much do all the same function. We have an auxiliary chapel that the royistas come into. We have pastors, and we have usually some other support staff, either from the kitchen or a table child will come in and they will pray up the royista before their talk. Those all will stay in the chapel during that whole royal, okay? Praying and singing songs and reading scriptures and all that, okay? So that's what our chapel chaws do. They also are responsible for setting up our main chapel for the services in the morning and the services in the evening, and any of the altar calls, altar visits that are done during the weekend. They take care of setting all that stuff up too. Okay, are we good with that?
We actually have we have a chapel chaws and we have prayer chaws. So they do 2 different functions. The chapel chaws, they are strictly involved with the chapel, getting that ready for all the services. Gotcha. And then we have prayer chaws. So before each royo, the SD comes down and the royista comes down, and we have 2 team members. So we always have 2 team members that are praying for that person while they're giving their royos. So we have people that set up the prayer area, but we constantly have at least 2 team members praying for them.
And that's the same thing we have with ours, except usually we have 4 or 5 in there praying at the same time. So.
But they change.
They change all the time.
Each talk.
The head chapel chaw and the 2 assistants are there all the time but there's other people who go in and pray too. Yes, sir.
I know with our, chapel chaws, they are in the chapel all the time, but they assist with the pray-ins and pray-outs. They, orchestrate the, songs, the scripture reading, but they also keep in, cause we only have one chapel. So when we have outside community coming in, they orchestrate and keep those people in control and get them out of the chapel if the pilgrims and
Gotcha.
team are coming in.
Okay. Right. Good.
The prayer chapel, which is for praying and not for us.
Yes.
Is where the, royal talks speakers go before they give their
Exactly.
talk. The people that pray in there are, for us, are decided by the rector, rectora, and the head chaw ahead of time for all of the talks.
Yes.
So that the prayer chapel does not deal with that part of
Right,
prayer.
and ours is the same way. Our head chaw and correlation with the rector, they will have extra people pray. Sometimes the royista will ask to have somebody specific on team to be in there praying with them too. So that helps. Go ahead, you're fine. You're fine. That's the whole reason why we're doing this.
Living Stones, our chapel is a good 15-minute walk from the royal room.
Okay.
So we have a little tiny room with a prayer chaw.
Yep.
And that person and one other person is always, somebody rotates in there
Yes.
to be praying royistas in, and then while they're doing the royal. At the same time, because the chapel is a barn, the chapel chaws are pretty busy, but sometimes they can rotate into the prayer room.
Okay.
Yeah, we
I think
have
we're- I
to
think
deal
we-
with the environment,
Yeah,
but
I think from
that's
what we're talking about, I think we're all on the same
Yeah.
board with that. Go ahead.
Okay, we have what's called the love team.
Okay?
The love team has a rector. The rector is, called by the secretariat. The love team is in a different place. They're the ones that handle all the fourth day. There are at least two people there's a living room and a chapel. There's at least two people in the chapel praying 24/7 from the time the weekend starts till it ends. That is where the royistas go to be prayed over before and after.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is their
that-
function.
okay,
And,
yeah.
and they are not seen by the,
Yeah. And,
by the
and
weekend.
I think that function and things going on
Yeah,
here
it's
are pretty much the
basically
same. Yeah.
thing, yes.
Okay.
Can I say one thing?
You sure can.
This kind of, I've caught on finally to what's going on here. And that is, I think the focus should be on what the function and purpose that these people are trying to accomplish, because it's our different environments. We do our entire weekend in one building that's no bigger than the floor of this here. When I
Right.
hear 15-minute talk, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, what do you do? Shipping them in.
Depending on we have
The purpose is the most important thing.
exactly,
that's going on.
exactly. Yeah.
And we're all accomplishing the same
Yes.
purposes with a lot different.
Yes.
So we understand terms.
Yeah.
And really, this is so when we start talking about team creation, and I say something that is different than what you guys do, just correlate it.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
just.
we may have to split the responsibilities up in different ways.
Yep.
Because we're in different environments and have different skill sets among the members of our secretariat. There may be somebody who's really, really good at something, or a group of people that we can call to be a prayer chaw who wouldn't be able to get down our stairs
Yep.
to the royal.
That's what love team is for.
Yep. So, okay. All right. Spiritual directors. I know.
You're good.
Good, thank you. I appreciate that. Spiritual directors. We've been running 3. In the last several weekends, we've been running with 2 clergy and 1 lay person. That's just because we have a hard time getting our clergy to give up a
Preaching to
week.
the choir.
Give up a weekend, so, I mean, that's just the way we work. These are typically appointed by our secretariat, and the rectors do not, they can kind of go one way or the other with some of them, but that's usually typically appointed by our secretariat, so.
We have used.
Music.
Yeah.
We have
Music
a-
child. Under rating.
There it is, I know, thank you. Music child, we usually have one or two. I mean, it's just typical, yeah. So, Augie.
Say more about your, lay spiritual director.
Mhm.
Okay.
That term is new to me.
Okay.
We have experienced some good news.
Yeah, they are a layperson that is not necessarily trained.
Okay.
Doesn't have a
You know, we
divinity.
have
Does not have any degree in
synodical
divinity or anything like that.
Sams.
No, we don't
Yes, it
even,
could
couldn't,
be depending
we
on
don't
the
have any
synod.
SAMs in our region or area that we can use or we use.
Stephen Minister?
A
Spiritual.
lot of them
director?
are
Oh.
very, have been very involved with Vita Cristo. 99% of them probably are ex-rectors. And some of them have counseling degrees. But when we go in the evening where there is a need to have some kind of spiritual one-on-one, they do not typically do that. It is our pastors that do that.
Okay.
They help out with some of the, they'll do probably one of the grace talks on the first day. They will do some of the other readings in the evening or in the morning. Okay,
They're
so,
seasoned enough.
yes, they know what's going on, so, yeah, John.
Yeah, Randy, in our community, I've actually had to fill that role a couple times.
Yes.
We use the term spiritual job, so there's no confusion on, I'm not ordained, I'm not clergy, so spiritual job kind of made it obvious that I was something different.
Different, okay, that's great. We may think about doing that, because that'll eliminate some issues.
And is there, on that, so in your spiritual job, I mean, is there a direction of you will not be a counselor?
Well, yes, there's two things that when I was asked, because we had an SD who suddenly had an emergency, had to step out, and suddenly there was a hole. I said two things I don't do. One, I don't do counseling. A whole lot of good reasons that shouldn't happen, and won't consecrate elements because I'm ordained. Everything else, lay people can help.
Sure.
You just make sure you keep the right bounds on it.
Okay, Melanie, go ahead.
But sometimes, like on our co-ed weekends, we often have male pastors, spiritual directors, and Karen does on co-ed weekends will talk to the women. Karen's also
She's a counselor.
licensed counselor.
So, yeah.
And she's a past rector and she's a lay spiritual director. And so oftentimes the women will want to talk to her, especially if our only two other options are male pastors.
Yeah.
And so Karen
Can do some of that, but she will pass it on to a pastor if she needs to.
She
so,
knows
yeah.
if she needs to pass it on, but she does every once in a while if she's not gonna refuse somebody who says, I really would rather talk to you than talk to a male pastor.
But she's not ordained?
No.
She's not, and everyone knows she is not.
Okay.
No, she makes no bones about, most of our pastors wear collars on the weekend, and she comes in dressed like
Everybody else.
one of us.
Good.
In good news, we have had a lot of trouble with our spiritual directors moving away, and I think Sam's was what your different synods call them different things. But people that have had the lay training where they fill in for pastors and they can give communion if it has been consecrated by an ordained pastor or something. We have used those kind of people to come, and also if anybody was here last year and heard the spiritual directors, if you've had spiritual director training, we have used those people with those skill sets with an ordained pastor.
Okay.
And then they can consecrate, and then, you know, that's a different.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on. I think we've beat this to death. But anyways, so I wanna move on to, you wanna do team meetings or? Let's do team meetings. Let's do team meetings.
I know, I'll shut up, I promise.
No, you're fine.
We have what's called an observing rector. So we call a rector and then, but the rector is called for the weekend before their weekend.
Okay.
And they are there for the entire weekend observing.
Okay,
So we
gotcha.
have a rector and an observing rector.
It's like direct training. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have people that we call angels. These are people that can't commit to a whole weekend, but they can come for a day, they can come for an afternoon, they can come for a morning. And they just fill in where they need help.
Okay.
Yeah. We do that too.
Okay, all right, let's move on, because I want to really hit on some of the team meetings and how Inky sets it up and how we do it. And then I kind of want you to visualize and correlate it back to your movements. Indiana, Kentucky is big. You know, we've got, from the north to the south, we've got about 6 hours, 7-hour driving time, okay? So, we have it segregated. We have a camp in the northern part and a camp in the south central part of our area. So, we have weekends going on those at the same time, pretty much. We're usually 2 or 3 weeks apart, but essentially the teams are going on at the same time. We run 4 team meetings for our training, okay? And they usually run from 8:30 on a Saturday to 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They correlate to every day of the weekend. So the first one deals with Thursday, okay? Thursday we don't do much on the weekend. But what they use that first team meeting is to build the team itself and the cohesiveness of that team. The other thing that Inky does is we make position assignments at that point in time of the week. Team members, when they get called to a team, they are accepting the call to the team. They are not accepting a call to a position on the team. So because the rector has been trained, usually for several months, before they even start calling people. They get their team together and they think, oh, I want this person to do this and one person to do that, and then all of a sudden this person can't do that. And so now, oh, this person would be better. And so that's why when we call a team, we don't call them to positions. The only ones that are called to the exact positions are our head positions. Head chaw, because they do a lot of administrative stuff for the rector. They need to know what's going on. Head kitchen chaw and head chapel chaw. Those are the only 3 people that know what their positions are before that Thursday team meeting.
Correct.
Okay? So, during our team meetings, we start out with chapel, led by our spiritual directors, and it's very heavy on being a servant, okay? We drive that home. You are a servant for this particular weekend, okay? So, at the time of their assignments, the rector will call the person up, they will introduce them, they will allow them to introduce themselves to the team, you know, what weekend they went on, and then they will get that assignment and they will get a prayer verse for their weekend, for their position. Okay? Also in that first meeting, we assign prayer partners. Okay? So we'll have three or 4 people together that are prayer partners for the whole entire weekend. Okay, so after all that introduction is done and the prayer partners are assigned, then we will get those prayer partners and break them up, and they will spend half hour, 45 minutes together getting to know each other and giving them the ability to pray for each other and do all those kinds of things. Okay, so that's Thursday's meeting, and the first weekend. We have in the past held what we call an overnight. Sometimes if it's a camp, we'd really like to do it at the camp if we can do it, because that gives people that have never been at that camp an ability to, move around in the facility and see what's going on. I really like it because that gives you an extended period of time to bond as a team, and gives our rectors chances to do foot washing, some other team building events and things like that. So just to let her know, we are going to get back to that. We're going to work on that, getting back to doing those overnights, because I think that's vital for our teams. The next team meeting, okay, is Friday. So, yeah, so we go over the dynamics. We always start out with chapel, led by one of the spiritual directors. We go and we talk about the dynamics of Friday, and what we think, how we're going to build up and start getting the mindset for what's going to happen on Friday. That's really critical for people that are new to the team. It's also critical for people that have been on many teams, because each team is unique. And I've served on probably 25 or 30 teams. Every weekend is unique and different, and you all know that. We need to make sure that we drive home the essentials of the particular days of the weekend, okay? So then we will also go through each of the 3 royos, lay royos that are going to be presented on Friday. And they will go through it just like they're going to do it on the weekend. We will take them to the chapel. Our spiritual director will go there, and our chapel child will go, and usually 2 other people from the team will go pray those people in. The only difference is everybody comes back in to the royal room and listens to that royal. Okay? That does a couple things. Just a second. That does a couple things for us. That allows the entire team to hear the progression of the royals. Okay? Because remember, the weekend is just one big royal. It just has a whole bunch of little pieces that all fit together. So, the other thing that does is it gives the royista a chance to be in front of people, because a lot of folks don't have that opportunity to do that on a daily basis. So that gives them a chance to talk at a normal voice, at a normal pace. And so we kind of critique it a little bit. We help them out if they're talking too fast, if they're, things like that. If they are missing the point of their talk, we don't talk about that thing. That's the rector and assistant rector and spiritual director's job. So, I think that's it for that. Go ahead.
Okay, my question was, I'm assuming then that the royals are assigned at that first meeting as well.
Yes, all positions,
Yes.
all positions are assigned, all royals are assigned at that first meeting. So, so sometimes maybe one of the first day royistas will know what it is. If the time between our first meeting and the next one is short, they may find out that they're going to be giving a royal, but nobody else will know it, so that they can start preparing for their practice. So, does that answer?
Okay, so, no, I mean,
Okay.
that's the thing, if you're assigning them at the first meeting, you have to have some time between the first and the
It all
second.
yes.
Right.
To be able to prepare it, because if you.
Exactly. Our meetings are usually 2 to 3 weeks apart.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you learned one Saturday that this
Yeah.
is my Royo, and you're supposed to give it the next Saturday.
We do not go that tight.
No.
We do not go back to back.
Yeah.
We usually have 2 to 3 weeks in between them.
That's what I was gonna
Okay.
ask, how far out do you start having team building meetings?
Where we at? Melanie, where we at?
We're
Melody's our
at-
next director, so
We're
that's,
about 8 to 9. Our first team meeting is about 8 to 10 weeks before
the weekend.
the weekend. So like I've already called most of team and they've been, and they're gonna start getting emails, but our first meeting isn't until, I should know this off the top of my first.
23rd.
August 23rd, yeah.
You should.
So-
August 23rd, cause Marcia's on my team. August 23rd, and then
But when's the weekend?
October 16th.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're,
October 16th.
Yeah.
So they've got
they've got a
time.
couple weeks.
They've got they'll have about, I'm gonna probably let because a couple of them are new people who are gonna be giving talks, they'll be first time Royistas for that Friday. So they're gonna know their position a week before the team meeting, so, and they'll be given it, so they'll have 3 weeks to plan to get their talk.
One thing that we do is.
Okay, hang on guys, hang on. What's up?
One thing that we do is once, at the first team meeting, when they get their assignment, the Royistas, they have about 2 to 3 weeks in between meetings to prepare and look at the outline and prepare their talk, but they also have to email their talk to our lead spiritual director to make sure it's theologically sound. And then they get feedback from the
Yeah.
spiritual director.
We do that.
We're pretty, for the most part, our outline is pretty tight on what they can put in there and what we don't allow them. Most of the time, they're pretty close. Yeah, a lot of that's covered during team meetings beforehand, so, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we give our professors usually 2 months ahead of time. They know what talk they're gonna give at least 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's just different. I mean, that's, yeah, that's just how you guys do it. I mean, that's.
Having done a few, I think it's best.
Yeah, I mean, if it's one of the first day Royistas, I mean, the first day Royistas, except piety, are pretty cut and dry, straight down the line, so, yeah. There's not much you can add or take out of that one, so. The piety takes a little bit more, but, the Royals that I've written usually get written in about 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
So, but I mean, it may take me a week to get, I mean, it's all the brain stuff going on before.
Heidi's usually an experienced Royista too, so they're kind of.
Go ahead.
I mean, this is, I'm more with you on
Yeah.
what we do, but I've gotta say, I'm very intrigued that I may be talking to people about trying to consider some of this simply because, as a result of the way we do it, the team does not, the whole team never gets to hear some of those talks.
Yes.
If I'm in the chapel, as I'm going to be this time, I probably would only hear 2 or 3 of those, of the talks, for the whole weekend.
But do you practice with it? Do you hear?
No, that's what I'm saying, is we end up, I will have we will have 3 meetings instead of 4.
Okay.
3 meetings, and I will sit in on one person's at each one of those 3. So I get the maximum I can hear.
So are you having Royals given at the same time at team meetings?
We have 3 different royals, and the chapel will hear one group, one talk. The
Yep.
royal room will hear another talk.
Yep.
And so all I can ever possibly hear, if I'm not a professor, will be 3 talks
Yep.
out of that weekend.
And I think
that is an advantage of what you're talking
yes,
about.
because do a couple different things. Because if I'm in the kitchen, I'm not going to hear any of the Royals on the weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
But if I'm in a team meeting and I hear all these Royals, and 2 teams from now, I get called to give a Royo. Now I've heard one, and I can glean pieces off of that. I've also heard the whole story for the weekend, and so, it's I don't say I disagree with that, but I would really encourage you guys thinking about maybe adding another team meeting if you can get all those Royals given at the same time, or on the same day, but not at the same time. And you may have people that don't hear a Royal that may be touched by that Royal if they were actually sitting in there. You gotta remember, it's not always for the pilgrims, it's for the team also. Okay, CJ?
Yeah, our last team meeting is an all day that we schedule at 8:30 in the morning until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon with a pitch in. And we go through every single one except for the spiritual directors.
You practiced all the Royals at that last day? Wow.
We have a potluck.
Whoa, man. That's okay. You do it and it works. That's great. If I was on that team, I'd be 4 legs up by the time we got done with that. So anyways, so we do the same thing on each of the Saturdays.
Randy, do you encourage your teams to be grouping?
What's that?
Do you encourage your teams to be grouping?
They generally say when they want.
Be that example, because they're doing it during team or they are actively in it. Are you?
I don't know.
Small groups, small trays.
Yeah.
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 Reunion groups.
No, grouping.
Reunion groups, yes.
Are you encouraging?
Yeah, I missed that part too. That was something I should have said right up front. On the weekend, we have Bible study action, okay? What I encourage our teams to do is prayer, at most, always. Serving, be a servant. Be a servant with the team, be a servant in your congregation, be a servant in your community. Practice that, because you're going to be doing that on the weekend. Third one, and we really, really need to emphasize this, is be in a reunion group or a group reunion.
Yeah,
Because
that's requirement.
that is where, if I'm writing a Royal, that's the group that here's my Royal before a team.
It's a foundation.
And I can tell you, when I was rector, I did my Royal with my reunion group, and God love them, because that night I didn't really care for them too much, because I gave them my Royal, and one of my best buddies took my Royal and tore it up. And he goes, "That's not you." And I rewrote it, and it was pretty good on the weekend. It was pretty good. But anyway, so.
What about prayer charts?
Huh?
Prayer charts.
Like prayer vigil?
Prayer charts for what?
For the weekend.
Don't the men's do a prayer chart for the team leading up to the team to get the team to pray for each other?
Oh, we call it a prayer calendar.
Nope.
Same idea.
Men's don't do that.
You don't do prayer calendar?
Nope.
What's wrong with you boys?
I don't know.
We have a
Okay.
QR code that can be scanned, and you sign up for a time to do prayer in an hour block.
This is just for the team. This
Oh,
is just
team
for the
building.
team.
This is part of team building.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you put your Bible
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes the prayer, the chapel shop makes a calendar and puts every team member, gives them a day, and then they might even send out a text.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you pray for Marcia
Yeah.
today.
We do that sometimes.
I like that.
That's a new thing. I haven't done that for a while. Okay, does anybody else have any comments, questions? Because we are essentially about out of time.
No, but I can tell you that I looked up, if you would like to attend Kim's, she is the team building in Sykes 222. So.
Oh, thank you.
So if you're looking at it, because they didn't put the names on the schedule, so I looked it up for you. Randy's is back here, but she's in Sykes 222. So when they're at the same time, if you don't want to redo Randy's.
Not that it wasn't wonderful.
Yeah.
But more information over here.
Well, you know, what I do think is beneficial.
Hang on, guys, hang on a second.
What I do think is beneficial about you guys who came to this first one with Randy is, you know what? Randy laid a wonderful foundation for you guys. You know,
Hang on, guys.
it's less about getting caught up in the weeds about what we call who or who we call what. But he wanted to lay open a foundation for a dialogue, so when you are saying, oh, what's your Palanca do? And, you know, maybe there's a different term that you use and you're like, what's a Palanca? I'm just saying, that's an example.
Right.
But now you have this whole weekend to utilize that and to really look at different ways you're going and what Randy laid out for how to, you know, some of the, scheduling of a team
Mechanics.
meeting. Those things are so important. And you know, whether you do something similar to Inky or not, it's about making sure you do something.
Because that's, I mean, we run into the problem too sometimes where, you know, we're getting close to 3 o'clock and we're getting close to 3 o'clock and it's like, oh, what can we cut? What can we cut? That's when we get in trouble.
That's right.
If we cut prayer time, if we cut the small group discussion, that's where we lose our team building and things like that. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Hopefully we got something out of it. I will be, everybody that marked their names on here, we will be putting kind of a summarization of all this together and we will email it all out to you.